On August 6, 1945, the United States B-29 bomber plane, known as the Enola Gay, flew over the Japanese city of Hiroshima. At 8:15 a.m., the first atomic bomb was dropped. It had exploded with the power of 20,000 tons of TNT. It produced a giant mushroom-shaped cloud over the city that went up 40,000 feet into the sky and stayed there for 2 hours. This new weapon of mass destruction could create an era in history of peace with other nations, or it may cause so much fear of others that everyone will be wiped out. The two bombs were known as Fat Man and Little Boy. Fat Man was the bomb that hit Hiroshima, and Little Boy was the one dropped in Nagasaki. The blast radius of the first bomb covered a total of 4.1 square miles of Hiroshima. A crew member was quoted saying, "Practically every living thing there was annihilated." The devastation of the bomb was astonishing to everyone because no one knew exactly what this weapon was actually capable of against living things. Soon after the bomb had gone off, however, they learned the jaw-dropping truth of what had been done to Hiroshima. Anyone within a kilometer of the explosion became a bundle of smoking black charcoal in seconds, and within minutes, it is estimated that about 70,000 people were killed. The crew said after the bomb was dropped, we were at least 10 miles away, and there was a visual impact, even though every man wore colored glasses for protection. And Tibbets said, "Close flank," and it was just like that, a close burst of anti-aircraft fire. The official statistics are not exact, but the Japanese estimated that 240,000 people were killed during the explosion, or died shortly afterwards from the effects of radiation. The bomb itself had devastating amounts of damage. Anyone near the bomb had been completely vaporized. But what caused some people to go against the idea of using the bomb was that those who did not die instantly had died an agonizing death, with burns all over their body, rashes, and the radiation poisoning in the air around which they lived. In Hiroshima, 30 days after the bomb had been dropped, people who were not injured in the bombing were still dying mysteriously and horribly from an unknown something which can only be described as the atomic plague. This idea had deterred people from fully embracing this weapon because of the level of suffering some had gone through. Henry L. Stinson, Secretary of War from 1940 to 1945, was the most important formulator of the history of the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. In modern political parlance, its chief spin doctor. Stinson had told the Truman administration that they had only two choices, the first being to invade Japan as they did to Germany to try and end the war in a very lengthy manner, or they could use the atomic bomb which could end the war in an instant. He was quoted saying the sole motivation for the atomic attacks was to save American lives by ending the war as quickly as possible. Americans were split on the opinions of the nuclear attack used to end the war with Japan. Morals played a large role in this as people struggled to decide whether it was really the best choice. The bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki were done for strategic reasons, thought to benefit the United States. Though it was questioned early on, many people eventually agreed that it was the right choice. Nagasaki was not chosen by random. It was vitally important as a port for transshipment of military supplies and the embarkation of troops in support of Japan's operations in China. By using the atomic bomb, they were able to accomplish the goal of crippling Japanese military manufacturing while not expanding a large number of American troops in the process. The B-29, which loosed the atomic bomb on Japan, was piloted by Colonel Paul W. Tibbets Jr. He became a Super Fortress test pilot when the B-29 pilot program was instituted and was among the first to fly the gigantic ships. The man who had actually released the missile was Major Thomas W. Farraby. He was bombardier of Tibbets' B-17 on the first strike against German-occupied Europe that left from England. Major Farraby was also part of the crew that flew Dwight Eisenhower and General Mark W. Clark from Gibraltar to northern Africa, where Tibbets and Major Farraby became the lead pilot and bombardier of the bomb strike during that invasion. The Baltimore Sun stated that Major Farraby, veteran of 61 combat missions in Europe and Africa, holds the Distinguished Flying Cross, the Air Medal with 10 oak leaf clusters, and 5 bronze service stars. Also aboard the ship was co-pilot Captain Robert A. Lewis. In his life before the war, he was an engineer, but before being put on the team, he had served 3.5 years of service as a second lieutenant. Now the whole world had seen just what weaponry countries could obtain. Countries not involved with the United Nations made things worrisome to others, because you would not know how powerful, say, the Soviets had been able to make theirs. They were supposed to be the most powerful thing in the world, with the best things, but the fear of others always lingered, which made them want to advance more.